figure out what the fuck is going on. And then he kind of pops his head out like Beetlejuice style and goes, "Hey, how's it going?"
Okay,
And tries
you
to
missed
fucking
something.
guide her into a surgery on his own heart.
Okay, so you missed something here.
What?
It's an astral projection.
Give a fuck. Okay, so he Beetlejuices his way through some bullshit dimension. Okay, that's not the best part. The second best part is after he's been stabbed with this spear, the cape goes, "Oh shit, I fucked up." And then they go and wrap themselves around the head of the dude that threw the fucking spear, while Mads is still stuck in Christian Grey's personal fucking retraction machine. And so now this dude goes, "Oh, I can pop out of my body and become a ghost." And so he pops out of his body and becomes a ghost, goes through the portal that's still being slung open while Stephen Strange is getting shit pulled off of his heart by a giant fucking needle. And so now Stephen Strange sees this guy and he goes, "Be right back, honey," and then backs out of this like Beetlejuice state that he's in, where he's like cracking real and I don't even fucking know. Becomes a ghost. Okay, now he's a ghost, right? And so he's ghost fighting with this asshole that had his face wrapped around by a cape. Okay, so now he's ghost fighting with this guy through the hospital. And it's physical enough to where it affects his girlfriend who's doing surgery on his heart. Ooh. So now they're ghost fighting. Okay, back and forth. He flatlines. So she shocks him. When she shocks him, the electricity goes through his fucking ghost and affects the other ghost. So then he goes back into astral form, or whatever you want to call it, and goes, "Do it again. Jack it up a little bit." And so now she has jacked up the jewels going to his stopped heart, which you don't shock a stopped heart, period. I used to be an EMT. And you don't shock a stopped heart. That's
You
not
mean
how you...
started heart.
No, his heart was stopped.
No, but she did it the one time. She's like, and he's like, "Do it again." She's like, "But your heart's already beating."
Right. Well, either way. But you don't... she shouldn't use it anyway because you use a defibrillator to basically get you out of a certain rhythm and not to... You don't clear... it. Once there's a rhythm found, it'll tell you to shock. Okay, you have to have an active rhythm to get that rhythm to restart.
I feel like I've been lied to by so many hospital shows.
Dude, I used to sit here when I was an EMT and go, wrong, 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 wrong. And that's why I can't watch Grey's Anatomy with my wife, because I'll sit there and go, well, that's bullshit. And yeah. So anyway, so ghost fight. So he tells her to jack it up, and she goes, "Your heart's already beating." He goes, "Jack it up." And so she turns up the jewels, and so he goes back into ghost form, hanging out with Patrick Swayze and shit. And now, all of a sudden, he grabs onto this dude that's, got a face wrap full of fucking cape.
His physical body has
whatever.
Face full of cape.
So now he's got a hold of him, and she jacks him up, and and it creates sparks, like real sparks in her world, but kills this other dude's ghost, which is, I guess, a metaphor for his soul, and which kills him in the real world, which is past the portal that is still active inside of a fucking broom closet. And scene. Which... no one ever sees or finds this portal to another fucking building in New York City the whole time.
There should be some really scared janitors right now. Like, what the fuck is that?
Or you just, go back into the house and there's, a janitor walking around going, "Where the hell am I, dude?" And you're like, "Oh, shit, let me get you back into the hospital." And you just, guide him in. But no,
this way, sir.
Yeah, I know. So, Stephen Strange has surgery on his heart. It's getting sutured up, right?
Well,
so what's the natural thing to do?
He doesn't have surgery on his heart. She had to pull blood out of his pericardial sac. Okay, then she stitched up the stab wound.
But yeah, okay. And then so she stitches up the stab wound. He has blood pulled off his heart with a giant fucking needle.
Yeah.
So what's the natural thing to do? Stand up and walk out.
I mean, sure.
Am I taking crazy pills?
See, it's like I just said at the beginning. This movie calls for a lot of suspension of belief. Because it's just, left and right, all this. And, see, that's another thing. This astral plane that they're on, in certain parts of the movie, time in the physical plane is, slowed.
But, did you know?
Except for the part...
No, you're talking about astral plane.
Except for the part where he's in the hospital and he jumps out and he's into his astral form, time is still moving at a normal pace while she's doing the procedure. But then fast forward, and the thing with the Ancient One, and they're in the astral plane. Then time is like slowed, and you can see lightning slowly from the sky. It's like, okay, well,
So this
what's
motherfucker.
the time?
Okay, so this son of a bitch has mastered turning an apple from being bitten to being full again. Okay, no.
Okay.
He watches the Ancient One get stabbed and fall from on top of like a 40-story building through an awning and face plant the fucking pavement. Instead of immediately accessing the Infinity Stone. I'm not going to call it what they call it in the movie because what they call it in the movie is not right. And you and I, we did that research.
Yeah, I researched that, and that's not even accurate to the comic books whatsoever.
And so whenever he could have accessed the Infinity Stone,
that's currently hanging around his neck.
That's
still
on him.
His neck.
He doesn't have to go anywhere. It's right there.
Right fucking there.
And he could have saved the Ancient One.
Yeah.
But you know what? It wasn't him that died, so why would he save the Ancient One? Because he's a dick.
Because he's a dick.
So he sees Krillin fall to the earth and faceplant pavement, and all of a sudden she pulls him out of his body or something. I don't.
What?
Or he sees her.
No, he's like they're in the procedure. Like they take the Ancient One into the hospital, and while she's in the hospital, he sees like a monitor go a little haywire. And he's like, wait, what? So he jumps out of his, like, he goes into his astral form, and he sees her leaving the room, and he's following her. He's like, what are you doing? You're dying. And then they have, like, this big kind of dramatic moment about...
What you should have said is, wondering when you're going to use the fucking Infinity Stone so I can not die, you son of a bitch.
That's what I would have done. I would have, like, grabbed him by the neck and be like, use the Infinity Stone, bring me back. Like, because she wasn't even dead at that point. It wouldn't even... be resurrecting her. It's just rewriting a wrong. And he could have fixed that. And then that's something I like in that other YouTube video, How It Should Have Ended, where he's like, you could save everyone in Sokovia? Yeah. You could stop Quicksilver from dying? Yep. This Infinity thing he sure does a lot.
You can save Vision from getting that stone pulled out of his forehead. What?
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so... But, of course... that's like such a trope in movies now. It's like the master or whatever has to die in order for the main character to go on and be better. But I will say that the Ancient One does die in the comic books. That's one thing they got right.
Well, that's fine. I get that. But if this character is so important to you, to the point where your magical cape is going to wipe away tears from your eyes after she's dead, and you're crying about it, you know, I mean...
Like, and you know you have a device that can turn back time.
If I could turn back time...
Share! And... oh,
so sorry,
man. But
yeah.
it's a mess.
So, yeah.
Did you know
that in the mirror dimension...
the real world is not affected?
No shit.
What? I had no idea. I don't know how many times they said that.
She would tell Edgy to shut the fuck up.
It wasn't even just him. It first started with the Ancient One. She explained that. And there was no point to that scene where she takes him aside and she said, you need a safe space to practice your spells. And then they have a moment where the whole point of it is just to explain the mirror dimension.
Right.
There is nothing else of importance in that scene.
Nope. Nothing.
And then in every scene afterwards, you get the mirror dimension. The real world isn't affected here.
And they use it 100 times.
I mean, he used it to save the New York Sanctum, which makes sense. I get it. But
for the bomb.
For the magic bomb.
But then they're running through the mirror dimension. Why wouldn't you just, like, end the mirror dimension as soon as... Okay, so you've stopped the bomb, right?
Yeah.
With the mirror dimension. Why not, like, run out of the mirror dimension and start running through the actual streets of New York?
Because, here's the thing. Going back...
Explain it. Yeah, let's go.
Going back to when the Ancient One first introduced the mirror dimension to Doctor Strange, she said, you can even trap enemies here. You don't want to be stuck in here without your sling ring. So when he put Caecilius in the mirror dimension to stop him from destroying the New York Sanctum. He runs past him, grabs Caecilius' sling ring, and he's like, I got a sling ring, he can't get out, right? And that was, like, his strategy was to try to trap him.
Okay, so sling ring out of there.
And he was trying to.
1,000 yards in front of him!
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That portal was really far away from it.
Like, if I'm going to open a door so that I can leave, I'm not going to make it to where I got to get a small workout to fucking get there, dude.
Get on a moped?
Right! Like, you've got to seriously, like, run, like, 6 blocks.
Yeah.
To go through that portal.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. And it was like that later, like when he...
Why can't you just, like, from me to you, just go, let's go, bye, Caecilius, stupid son of a bitch, and it's over.
End credits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they made it... I mean, of course they had to make it far away, because if it was far away and he jumps out of the mirror dimension, that's it, movie over. So you gotta... And then they would have missed the opportunity to have another shitload mind-bending special effects where you see, like, a building get split in half, and... Looks like that whole movie was designed by M.C. Escher.
No, that whole movie was ripped off of Christopher Nolan.
Oh, Inception?
Oh, yeah. Big time, dude.
It's a dimension within a dimension.
Dude, that's what it is, man. I mean, I don't think that... The idea of magic is not new. The idea of doing magic on screen is not new.
No.
And magic doesn't need to be building bending. You know? It doesn't have to be. That's not what magic is. And I don't understand... The only magic that we think that Doctor Strange can do at this point in time is from a green pendant on his neck, a sling ring, and he can move some buildings around. Like, there's really nothing else that he's fucking done.
He summons those little hand shield and a whip.
Ooh.
That's it. And see, that's another thing that bothered me, is that there was not a lot of variations within the magic. And that's one thing I was kind of bummed about. I was like, really? You have those, like, 5 things he can do? Some of which are not even him. It's magical artifacts.
Yeah, and the cape.
He has the cape, and then
so he flies.
Stone.
That's not him. That's the cape.
Yeah, and then he can turn back time, Cher style, but that's because of the Infinity Stone.
Yeah, and it's not whatever they call it in the movie.
No, they call it in the movie is... I mean, what they call it in the movie is an actual thing in the comic books, but what it does, it's not an Infinity Stone. It never was.
Right. Why is time slowed in the spectral realm while she is dying, which we just went over?
Yeah, we talked about
Why are the exact moment she dies, but what the fuck? Why not ask a question to get the answer? Yeah, he just accepts the fact that she's living her last second over, like, the span of 1,000,000 seconds for them or whatever. And he doesn't ask questions after he's been so inquisitive in Kathmandu, whatever. Oh, the very end.
Oh, here we go. It's been
Cloud. We got Cloud Villain.
Oh, that's already a... Ugh.
We got Cloud Villain, so we got...
That's already a sin.
We got Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Suicide Squad and Green Lantern. We got Cloud Villain, which is...
Well, Suicide Squad didn't necessarily have a Cloud Villain, but they did have the third act trap of fighting a faceless army with a giant beam shooting into the sky.
Yeah, it's Cloud Villain. Same fucking idea.
It's in the same realm.
Same thing, yeah. So my question is, why didn't Majin Buu... You see the scene with Majin Buu.
Okay, who is Majin Buu to our listeners?
The Asian librarian guy.
Wong.
Yeah, Majin Buu. Why? Okay, so you have the scene where he's like, grab your weapon. And, like, make sure your weapon is right. And
he has, like, a whole group of people.
These fucking magician people that are there, like, yeah! Like, Gangs of New York fucking style, dude. Where, you know, that opening scene in Gangs of New York where they're, like, going through and it's, like, John C. Reilly and he's got, like, claws and then you see, like, the redheaded dude with the big, you know, the barber with the billy club with all the notches on it and shit. And you're like... That's the scene. That's Majin Buu's scene protecting Tokyo or whatever.
Hong
Kong. And he's like, get ready, you can't let him in. And then all of a sudden, he's on street by his fucking self facing 3 of the purple-eyed dudes.
Yeah, it was like 10 on 3. And Or, I mean, that's what they were going to make it out to be, but then
It
now
was
it's
3
just...
on 1, and it was just Majin Buu.
And then it was just Wong. It's like,